Hey there folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the Marvel Legends Klaw action figure set by Hasbro. This set is part of Series 1 of the Return of Marvel Legends that contains the T-Rex Build-A-Figure for this series. This set was first released in 2012, and I purchased this at Toys R Us and paid $17.99 for this set. Now, taking a look at the packaging here, it's actually pretty nice. I really like the packaging design of the Marvel Legends here. It's got a very comic booky feel with the panels here, and you got panels on the side, and the artwork as well. I believe the artwork is done by Ed McGuinness, and this particular style brings a lot of memories for me. It reminds me a lot of the later Bronze Age of comics, about the early 80s. And it just has that early 80s style of artwork. Taking a look at the figure in the package, you can see Klaw here. He's a very lean figure there, and has his sonic weapon there. And you can see the T-Rex Build-A-Figure part, which is the left leg of T-Rex. On the side here you can see the numbering scheme for each of the figures that contain a Build-A-Figure part. And not T-Rex, but Klaw is number 4 in that series. On the back of the card you have an expanded view of the Klaw character that was shown on the front. And you got here, collect all 7 figures, although you don't need 7 for the T-Rex Build-A-Figure. And down here you can see T-Rex, the Build-A-Figure part, and the figures from Series 1. We have here Steve Rogers, Hope Summers, Extremis Iron Man, Klaw, Constrictor, Ghost Rider, and Thor. And Thor is the figure that does not have a Build-A-Figure part. There are variants in this wave of Steve Rogers, Iron Man, and Ghost Rider. Steve Rogers, the variant is with the photonic shield. The Extremis Iron Man is painted in blue, and Ghost Rider is painted in red. Now we'll be right back and have Klaw here out of the package. Okay, we're back and we have Klaw here out of the package. And I have to admit that both Klaw and Ghost Rider were the 2 figures from Series 1 that I was least excited about getting. I was really more interested in getting the parts for T-Rex than the actual figures themselves. But Klaw has actually grown on me. I actually do appreciate it a lot more. And the figure does have a few issues, or at least I have questions about. But we'll go into that as we get into the figure. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories or items that come included with Klaw. There's not many. The first one is, of course, the Build-A-Figure part for T-Rex, which is the left leg of T-Rex. And you can see the leg here, and it's actually nicely detailed, especially in the sculpt of the leg. You can see it's painted gray with a nice dark gray or black wash, and it really does bring out the details in the leg. It's actually quite neat. And then you have the boot here, more simplified in design. You got the top of the boot here and the boot itself. And the articulation on this particular Build-A-Figure part is interesting because I really like how the ankle pivot works on this particular figure. Looks like they adopted the ankle pivot recently used on the Marvel Universe figures on here, and it's just really smooth in the movement, and I really like that. And not much else about the leg itself. It's not as big as some of the previous Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure parts. T-Rex is not going to be as tall as like the Apocalypse or the Sentinel. So you can see for a size comparison that the leg goes up to Klaw's waist on there. So T-Rex will not be too big, but it's still neat to have a Build-A-Figure as part of Marvel Legends. Now, this is the Build-A-Figure part that comes with Klaw, and that's the left leg of Terrax. The next item we'll take a look at is a pamphlet insert called Tales of Terrax, which I really do like, because in previous Marvel Legends, especially from Toy Biz, the Build-A-Figure part really had no description or history included in any of the sets, so you really had to do your own research. And it's kind of neat that they include these Tales of Terrax, or Tales of whoever the Build-A-Figure figure is. And it gives you a little bit more backstory on the Build-A-Figure. And this one here focuses on, I guess, Terrax's encounter with Doctor Doom. And you can see the description here, and this is part 4 of 6 on there. And what's kind of neat down here is, if you want to know more about their encounter, they refer you to the issue they most likely appeared in, which is Fantastic Four number 259. And I like that because it gets folks more motivated to actually going to read comics to find out more about the history. So that's kind of cool. And on the other side of this pamphlet here is the, I guess, visual checklist and guide to putting Terrax together. And of course, with Klaw, the Build-A-Figure part is the left leg here, and it's checkmarked there. So that's kind of cool. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Klaw figure, which is actually pretty neat. Now, there's one issue I do want to get through first, and that's the size and build of Klaw. Now, I remember Klaw from the early to mid 80s, and the way Hasbro has sculpted Klaw is a bit different than what I remember. What I remember of Klaw is he was actually a medium-sized guy, rather wide in his torso. He was like a barrel-chested guy and had wider hips. But Hasbro seems to have sculpted Klaw to be a lean figure, both in the Marvel Universe and now with the Marvel Legends figure, and that's not really how I remembered him. I just remember him being more of a medium-sized guy with a wider build. And this Marvel Legends one is he's rather thin, and which is pretty interesting, and it's something I guess I'll have to get used to. And also another thing I noticed once I got this guy out of the package is his size. Now, both the Marvel Universe figure and the Marvel Legends, it looks like in the package he's a very tall guy. Maybe it's because of his stature, of his lean build. But once you get this guy out of the package, he's relatively short, which was a bit surprising to me. I have the other Return of Marvel Legends figure opened here, my Steve Rogers, and you can see that Steve Rogers is almost a head taller than Klaw here. So I think that Klaw stands about probably a flat 6 inches on here. So it's really surprising, because in the packaging he looks taller than he actually is. So but anyways, taking a look at the rest of Klaw here, starting with his head sculpt. Now, one thing I've liked about the Return of Marvel Legends figures here is the very good paint application of these figures, and Klaw here is no exception. Now, Klaw does not have very many paint apps. He has very little, actually, really only in the head and in the trunks area. But what they have of the paint applications is very well done. You can take a look at his head here. There's no bleed anywhere. just no paint slop anywhere, and it's just very well done. The only issues paint application wise is a little bit of the flesh colored paint going into his I guess his costume here in the black, but that's easily fixed. That's hardly noticeable. And also a bit of paint slop on his voice box area. You can see some, I don't know if it was extra plastic that the paint went over, but it's very, very tiny, and it's not that big a deal. But everything else looks very well done. The paint application is nice and clean, especially in the narrow parts and thin areas of the head here. It's just perfectly applied, and that's just really, really nice. And also in the trunks, there's no bleed here, nothing paint slop wise, so that's really, really cool. And just looking at some more of the details on the head here, you could see the I guess the silver paint on the eyes, which is very nice, and also on the voice box area, or his mouth area, and it's nice painted silver. And then you can see some of the sculpt here on his ears. That's painted red, or it's not really painted at all. That's just part of the red molded plastic. But with that there, you could tell that that's covered by his mask or whatever, his costume on there. So it's very, very cool. Looking at the rest of the figure, there's really no paint applications. It's really just red unpainted plastic for the majority of this figure. But it's actually quite nice. I just don't have a liking to his thin frame. I really wish it was more a thicker frame on his torso here, but it's okay. Now, what I'm viewing on the video screen, it looks like it's orangey here, but it's not. This figure is just solid single color, and my lamps are actually highlighting these shoulder areas here, what look almost like a tomato red, but it's not. It's actually just a solid red color on there. You can see some of the sculpt of the muscle definition here, and also some definition on the hand here. It's actually kind of cool. Would have been nice to have maybe a wash on there to bring out some of the definition, but it's okay. Now, the major piece for Klaw, of course, is his sonic weapon here, and it's actually nicely sculpted. I really like it. Now, here, the conical shaped here portion of his sonic weapon here is a little warped due to packaging, and that's one issue I noticed with a lot of the Klaw figures that I saw. Is this squished in the packaging and actually warping this, so you may have to apply some hot and cold water to fix that if you are so inclined. And this particular figure that I found has escaped the warpage pretty much. It's still kind of warped just right about here and about there. And speaking of warpage, another thing you have to look out for is the legs and arms, because since it's such a lean frame, it's prone to warpage in the packaging due to the pose that the Klaw is in. And I did pass several Klaw figures because of bent legs and bent arms. This one didn't totally escape warpage. You can see the arm here bending down a little bit, but not that bad. 3 of the 4 limbs were relatively straight, and the sonic weapon was pretty much rounded out, so I went ahead and picked this one up. But you have to watch out for the bent limbs and arms of this figure if you really want a nice figure. But it's a decent figure overall. I really dig it, and I've grown fond of the figure, and actually I like it quite a bit. Going over the articulation of Klaw here, the head does go all the way around, and does go up and down due to a hinged ball joint there. The arms do go all the way around on a slight ratchety type of joint. It does go out and in, and the arms can go all the way around at the upper bicep area. double joints at the elbows, which is nice. No articulation on this hand due to the sonic weapon, but the hand here goes all the way around and in and out, so that's kind of cool. The torso here does bend down, up and back on a hinge joint, and the waist area goes all the way around. The legs on this figure can go up about that high, down, and back about that far with the manipulation of the ball joint here at the hip, and also goes out to the side. And the leg can go all the way around at the top of the thigh there. The knees are double jointed, 2 hinges, so that's nice. And the feet can go up and down. I wish the range of that was better, but it only goes about down that far, and does go all the way around at the ankle as well. So overall, this is a figure I wasn't really looking forward to getting, but I'm glad I actually did, not just for the T-Rex part, but for the figure itself. And it's nice that Hasbro is making characters that have not appeared before. That's another thing I like what Hasbro is doing with the Marvel Legends line. This is my casual peek into the Klaw action figure from Marvel Legends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.